What's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reacting to the Ohio State game where they defeated Purdue 41-7. This game was the first one I was an Ohio State fan where it was like throughout the entire game, I saw a complete dominant performance from start to finish, offensively, defensively, special teams, everything. Throughout the course of the game, offense had some mistakes. Defense, they were dominant the entire game except for one little mistake. And special teams, they were 10 out of 10. So I'm basically going to get right into this. We're going to kind of react, kind of give my opinion, a kind of perspective throughout the entire course of the game, go through the stats, and then so forth. But without further ado, if you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure you do drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and get right into this. As you can see right here, we got all the stats for the game. Let's go ahead and discuss some of the things that we needed to kind of fix going into this game before we get into the big one next week. Some things Ohio State struggles with is, one, they can't stop the run, and number two, they are always getting off to slow starts. And when I say slow starts, I mean like they're letting the other team score a touchdown on the very first drive. They're letting them just run the ball down their throat the entire first half. In this game, we were able to slow down the run a little bit throughout that first half, and then we didn't actually allow a touchdown or a score or anything. 3 missed field goals by that Purdue field goal kicker. Hello. Now, something we need to realize is I believe Purdue is like second to the worst, or even like the worst run offense in the Big Ten. So we allowed 123 rushing yards. That doesn't look bad, but it's also not a good thing that we allowed that to the worst rushing offense in the league. Moving over to the pass defense. Pass defense played good. 134 yards for their quarterbacks combined. 126 yards for the starter. Only a touchdown. The touchdown, I'll get into it in a second. That touchdown should have never even happened. Real quick, let me take you through some of the high moments of this game that I was really excited about. Kyle McCord, he played phenomenal. Now, you're probably going to look at his stat and say 16-28, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty mid to above average game, which I would say you're correct. But the thing is, we don't need him to go out there and do anything crazy right now in these kind of games. We just need him to be him. Like right now in these kind of games, he can get by with these kind of stat lines. Now, next week against Penn State, if he can still put up this kind of stat line and then we can find a way to run the ball, we'll be good. Well, I wouldn't say good. I say we have a chance. But with the way he's playing right now, this is a good stat line for a game against Purdue. Another high moment, Marvin Harrison Jr., that throw by Kyle McCord in the first quarter, when it was like I believe a 30-40 yard throw, that was bonkers. Because the corner was turning around last second, the safety was collapsing in, and it's like that throw had to be put into like a little window, and Marvin Harrison had to adjust, got inside, was able to catch that ball. That was a crazy throw by Kyle McCord and an even better catch by Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison was able to get a touchdown catch on that same exact drive, a little corner route to the back of the end zone. It was a little bit underthrown. Kyle McCord should have put that ball a little bit further out. Didn't hit him. It's all good. He ended up still getting the catch. Later on in the game, there was a couple of drives that looked like they were going to be stalled out going into the field goals. But Cade Stover, he ended up getting 2 touchdown passes. There was one where Marvin Harrison Jr. looked like he had the touchdown catch, but they called it back. It was a little bit of a bullshit call, if you ask me. This sequence here was a little bit of bullshit because I like the creativity. I like it. Devin Brown in the game, he's a more mobile, athletic kind of quarterback. Put him in the game, he was able to run the ball a little bit, help kind of get this run game spiking up a little bit. And the reason why it worked is because when Kyle McCord's in the game, when he goes to hand the ball off, it's like defenses automatically know to go collapse in. But with Devin Brown, there's that kind of sense of urgency of like, okay, we can't collapse all the way down because he can pull it and he can run. Kyle can run sometimes. He showed that mobility a little bit in the game. I think he had a good amount of rushing yards. I think it was like 10 or 20 yards. He pulled the ball once on a read option. Got about 9 yards. Pretty good. But with Devin Brown's case, he's able to pull the ball and actually run for quite a while when he needs to. Not as mobile as like a Justin Fields or a JT Barrett, but he can get the job done. But in this play here, it was 2nd and goal. The first throw, it was, I believe, G. Scott. He had him out, like on a little out route. He underthrew the ball by a lot. Didn't make the catch. This play here, it was like just like a little sprint out option. Quarterback power kind of run. But you see Devin Brown, he's going in, he finds his hole, he's going, but then boom. Ball pops out, not a touchdown. I don't understand how this guy here, I think it's Hayden, yeah, how the hell he didn't jump on the ball, didn't get that ball. That baffles me, but Purdue ended up getting the ball. In that moment, I see everybody on Ohio State Twitter was going after, and I mean going after Devin Brown, saying, why Ryan Day? Why is he in the game? Why are we even trying to do this? But I guarantee you, if he would have scored that touchdown, everybody would have been like, oh, hell yeah, Ryan Day. Look at the creativity. So I just want to say, when it comes to that play, I'm okay with it. Devin Brown just needs to hold on to the ball. But let's move on. Some other things I want to talk about, like I said, with the run game. Run game went well, but like I said, when you're going against a bad defense, nothing really to be proud of. But when we look at the run defense, We had a lot of different guys running the ball because Mayan Williams, he was out in this game. He did not, I believe, even come to the game. Trevor Henderson, he came to the game, but he's still dealing with an injury. I think they're just trying to get him ready for Penn State. He probably had a lingering injury about a week or two ago, and they just said, these games coming up, who cares? Penn State's where we need you ready to go. But like I said, Trayvon Henderson not out there, Mayan Williams not out there, and then I believe Chip Trayanum, he got injured, like, I think in the second quarter, so he ended up going out. As you can see, he only had 6 carries, 28 yards. So Dallas Hayden and Xavier Johnson, they had to start taking over some of the carries. Hayden, he did pretty good. He had some nice ass runs. Now, some of the runs that he was getting later on in the game, they were kind of more toward like the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, when Purdue was basically like, fuck this game's over, who cares? And they weren't really trying to stop him that much. They were just trying to keep him from taking off. But overall, throughout the entire course of the game, 152 yards throughout everybody rushing. It's a pretty good stat line. Looking at the receiving yards and even the receptions, a lot of the guys, they were getting some nice catches. Marvin Harrison Jr., he got his kind of numbers. Carnell Tate, he came in the end of the game. Brandon Innes, that was a huge, well, you can actually see it down here. The touchdown catch, if you can kind of see it down there. He had a little like kind of up and out route. Got the ball, juked his corner, took it to the end zone. It was a nice toe. It was a nice throw by Devin Brown. He got it behind him. I think Innes could have probably outran him without having to go all around the corner. Now, I do think the passing game was a little bit flustered in the beginning of the game because Emeka Buka also did not play in this game. I forget if they said it was a hamstring or something going on, so he did not play as well. So Carnell Tate and guys like Julian Fleming, they had to step up. Julian Fleming had to drop the very first throw of the game. What the fuck? But overall, going forward, I think this Ohio State offense is pretty much set to go for the future. For Penn State, that game's going to be something to watch. But I think this offense is starting to really click on all cylinders. I think Kyle McCord, one of the things I noticed with Ryan Day is every single week, he's slowly just kind of adding more. Think of it like this. You have a percentage scale. This is a bad analogy, but I'm going to use it. You have a percentage scale, 0% to 100%. Every week, he's just like, Indiana game, 5%. Youngstown State, 10%. Western Kentucky, maybe he's up to 20%. And then every single game, he's just slowly giving him more and more of the playbook to know, understand. At this point in the season, he's like up there around that 40 to 50% knowledge. By next week, he's gonna give him a little bit more, but he's just slowly giving him knowledge because he doesn't want to just give him the whole playbook at the beginning of the year. He's flustered. He looks like shit. Then everybody wants Devin Brown, and then we got this whole debacle. He's just taking it week by week, giving him what he knows. If he doesn't understand something, pitch it. Come back to it later. If you understand something, let's get better at that. Let's go ahead and move on to the defensive side of the ball. As you can see here, we got some sacks going in. Jack Sawyer got some sacks. JTT got a sack and a half. Him and Jack Sawyer, they were collapsing that edge. They were tearing it up. I really like the tackling for this game. The tackling was very good. That's kind of been our weakness for some of those weeks. Reason why we're getting slow starts on defense is like we have this whole mentality of bend but don't break. Well, I said it in last week's video. I'm fucking tired of bending. Let's keep it straight. I think the linebackers played good. Corners played good. There was a couple of moments where Purdue was obviously about to get ready to score, but they had to settle for field goals. Like I said earlier, 3 missed field goals. Fuck yeah. The thing with them missing field goals is they have 2 different kickers. This Julio Messias, he's the one that was missing them, but then they have this other guy, Caleb Crockover. He kicked the extra point. Why didn't they have this guy kick the field goal? Like, I realize sometimes they have like a guy for place kicking and then a guy for like kickoff, but place kicking is basically for extra points and field goals. Why do they have 2 different guys? So I'm going to kind of say this. Defense, like I said, played good. Bend but don't break. They didn't bend that much today. There was that one moment in the fourth quarter where Purdue was just moving the ball right down the field. I think it was the third quarter actually where they were just moving the ball right down the field. Had no problem running the ball. That kind of pissed me off. But the only time where Purdue actually did score, I think, was Ohio State. I think Kyle McCord, somebody fumbled the ball. It was a very bad fumble. Purdue got the ball back, and they were able to easily score a touchdown. It was moments like that where I always talk about with Ohio State's defense and even their offense. It seems like they don't give up points unless they do stupid things, whether it's pass interference calls, fumbles, interceptions. It's like when they help the other team, that's when the other team is able to easily move the ball down the field, a big gash play, whether it's like a slant and they just take it to the house. Those kind of plays is where the teams can score. Like, I'm serious. When I look at this schedule here, the only game that I would say a team actually methodically moved the ball down the field, maybe Notre Dame did one drive, and then Maryland, I think the first drive of the game, they were able to just move the ball right down the field without us doing anything to stop them. Other than that, every other drive that a team got down the field, and whether it was a field goal or a touchdown, we helped them in some capacity. But I think I'm going to wrap it up with this. Ohio State, they played a good game. Purdue, here's something I wanted to discuss this real quick. I might sound like a little bit of a douchebag for saying this. Why before the game even happened, like 2 hours before on College Game Day, they were bringing up the story of that Tyler kid, the Purdue fan, the one that had cancer. I'll put a picture up on the screen if you don't remember who he is. But they were basically bringing up the story about like how this week they're doing something. They're kind of remembering Tyler and how whenever he was alive still, he was a Purdue fan. He wanted them to beat Ohio State. It was one of his dreams. He wanted to see it happen. It ultimately did happen. It was in 2018, Dwayne Haskins when he was the quarterback. It was a bad day for Ohio State fans, Purdue fans, yippee. But it's like throughout all these years, I haven't seen them really do anything to remember him, do anything like that, or even throughout this season. But this week of all weeks, you wanted to do a Remember Tyler, do a whole, like, I think they had a parade going on in Indiana, or by their university at Purdue. And it's like during the college game day, they were like, oh, this would be a sweet moment if Purdue was able to go out there and be the spoiler makers and beat Ohio State again. The fuck you talking about? I mean, God rest his soul, but no, I'm trying to win. I don't know. I just thought it was a messed up thing for them to do that, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Overall, like I said, Ohio State, they played a good game. Moving on to next week, they got Penn State. Penn State's got a really good defense. Manny Diaz, their defensive coordinator, he's been calling out Ohio State, and even Michigan. They've been bickering. It's like an online war where he's like basically saying he don't give a shit what those other team got. I know what my team has, and he's basically clarifying that he has the best defense in the Big Ten. So we're going to find out next week. We're going to see when Kyle McCord has to go out there. It's in Columbus. College game day is going to be there. I think Big Noon Kickoff's also going to be there. It's at noon. Kyle McCord, let's see how you can do. Because I believe Penn State, their number one thing they like to do is they want to stop the run. And we already don't have a run game, so Kyle McCord, it's on you. Marvin Harrison Jr., you got to get open. Emeka Buka, I think he's going to be back. Trayvon Henderson, with him back. Can he do anything? Maybe in the pass game, can we get some screens, some outs, some little swing passes for Trayvon Henderson? Maybe he can get the ball moving. It's going to be an exciting game. I'm looking forward to it, but that remains to be seen what's going to happen. But without further ado, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy. As always, if you wanted to enjoy today's video, make sure you do drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. If you went on to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. If I missed a kind of point for the Ohio State versus Purdue game, maybe there's a detail that I kind of left out, or you want to drop your opinion on kind of how the game went. If you're an Ohio State fan, Purdue fan, and you want to leave your opinion down in the comment section down below, feel free to do so. If you are a fan of the content that I am posting here, and you're a fan maybe Ohio State football, and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. I post Ohio State content here all the time, so if you want to go ahead and hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post, feel free to do so. But without further ado, this has been Dylan Talk Sports. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.